Well, we're joined now by Max and his mum Emma, as well as KEIRA'S parents, Joe and Luana. Good morning to all of you. It's lovely to have you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Max.
Morning.
So, Emma, first of all, let's talk about the changes that you spotted, Max, when you realised that something was wrong. What happened?
Well, it was sort of the autumn of 2016, and we'd noticed that Max was just losing his va-va-voom. So he was very pale, he was coughing a lot, losing weight. He would complain of pins and needles in his feet. So we sort of went to and fro to the GP, and it was thought to be asthma originally, but then things started to get worse, didn't they?
Well, you had a scan and looked at the scan of the... And actually joked initially and said, oh, he's always had a big heart.
Yes,
big
that's
heart.
right, yeah. So
that was the issue.
Yeah, we were sent for a chest X-ray, and we still had no idea, you know, that there was an issue with Max's heart. And I remember saying to you, didn't I, oh, hearts are much bigger than I thought they were. And, of course, his heart was enlarged because of the condition.
And things, I mean, very quickly after that, it took a horrible turn and things got very severe. You were rushed to hospital and almost didn't make it to hospital, actually. So very serious. And it was in January that you were put on the urgent heart transplant list. This is a long wait. I mean, this is the urgent list, and it was 206 days that you were waiting on this list. And, of course, there's no guarantee that a heart will be made available in time. And whilst you were on the unit in Newcastle, there were friends and children around you that did lose their lives. Which
You had friends that lost their lives, didn't you, Max?
Pardon?
You had friends that lost their lives, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I think it was 4 or 5.
Yeah, which is incredibly
And
sad.
206 days is a long time to be waiting, isn't it? You've actually got with you that was in your heart.
Yeah.
And that's what was keeping you alive.
This is a mechanical pump.
Yes, it is. It pumps, basically what it does is it has like a little motor or something inside, I'm not exactly sure. It spins around really quickly and it pushes blood around.
Which is a great option, but this is not a permanent solution. And it was whilst you were in hospital that you were contacted by the Mirror about their Change the Law for Life campaign. Why was that important to you?
Well, at first my mum said, "What do you wanna have the Mirror come over and take some photos because they're trying to get the law changed and raise awareness?" And I thought, yeah, sure, why not? And then she, let me think, she said, I said yes, of course, and then I went into the playroom in the hospital and I got some photos taken, and I remember the first one was with me, like, with a tube on my neck or something.
Yeah.
And to see that newspaper, it made me quite...
I bet it did.
Yeah.
How sick was he?
It was really quite touch and go, and I remember Mr. Hassan saying on the documentary, which certainly helped, but it was almost like the professional's job was, Max was on a downwards trajectory, and it was, he would every so often have downdrafts.
So really scary time.
So really scary, he'd be in between intensive care and high dependency units.
Well, the law is that at the moment you have to opt in.
Yes.
And so that's why we carry our cards and we decide, and I've got one in my wallet, and so you decide that you will be part of the scheme. That's and what you're after, and we'll talk about what you've accomplished in a moment, is an opt-out scheme, so that everyone is assumed to be in agreement unless you decide that you don't want to be.
Yes.
Now, the other side, here's one family that are waiting for that phone call, waiting for that miraculous moment. And for that miraculous moment to happen, something terrible has to happen somewhere else.
Yes.
And it was your family that happened to. And so, Luana, this was a day out in the car. What happened?
I was taking Bradley and KEIRA out to a new club that had just started. And that was the 30th of July, 2017, and that's when our lives changed forever.
You had a terrible car crash.
I imagine it's very difficult to talk about.
For the whole family, absolutely catastrophic. And you say, Joe, that you had 15 missed calls. You were away at that time, had no idea what had happened.
Joe, when you heard the news, obviously complete shock about what has happened, and the family was sort of spread in different hospitals,
Yeah,
weren't
they
they?
were all in separate hospitals.
So you must have just been thinking, oh my gosh, where do I go to first? How can I get?
Exactly.
It must have just been awful for you.
No, it was.
And-
When you were told that Keira was going to lose her battle, the decision to donate her organs, partly made because you thought she was such a loving girl, such a kind and generous person. Was it a tough choice?
No, not as tough as I thought it would be, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an incredible gift that she's given. I mean, not just Max that sat here. In total, 4 of Keira's organs, her heart, liver, kidneys and pancreas, were used to save 4 different lives, 2 adults and 2 children. How does it feel? Because losing a child, I don't think, unless you've been through that, is something anybody could ever possibly understand or come to terms with. Knowing that her life has given so much to so many, seeing Max sitting here now and the opportunity that he's got ahead of him, the future that he now has because of your daughter, does it in any way alleviate the pain? Can it possibly help towards healing in any
I
way?
don't know if it heals the pain, but we're just super proud of her, aren't we? Really proud of her.
Is amazing. We're super proud of her for doing that. And us having a relationship with Max and his family, that brings that extra little bit of comfort that you can see the change it's made.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas for the other families, we're not in touch. We have written to them. The young boy has written to us. But I think actually being in contact and actually seeing, meeting up, that to us makes a massive...
Yeah.
Well, it's a
Very
9-hour operation, so back to you guys, a 9-hour operation. 20% of those operations don't go the way that you would like them to go. And then here he is, a miraculous recovery.
It just feels like just a complete transformation. One of the first things that Max said when he came to after his operation was, I can see clearly, because the lack of blood to every part of his body was starting to really cause problems. So we didn't realise that even his vision was going.
Yeah.
He said that his vision was smudgy before, and I remember seeing him in a nappy after his operation, and you know,
Well done, don't you, Max?
He doesn't want to hear that.
but it was like a symbolic of a rebirth. And I
Yeah.
think that's how organ donation is for people that are lucky enough to receive a gift of an organ.
One of the you can decide whether or not you want to make contact, and you can decide. You know, it is all anonymous at first, and then those tentative steps can be made if you want to meet up as a family, and you chose to write, and you chose to contact, and you chose to meet. And Joe, for you, one of the profound things that you actually found comfort by listening to Keira's heart in Max's chest.
It's quite a strange situation, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's quite bizarre.
Yeah, but hearing that heartbeat. And what do you call the heart, Max?
Sometimes I call it mirror.
A mirror.
Because it's both of
Mirror,
you.
because it's like Keira
Yeah.
and Max
And you together.
mixed up. Yeah.
Well, you have changed the law because under the new law in England, which comes into effect next year, consent to donating organs will be presumed unless a person has opted out. According to the government ministers, this change could save up to 700 lives a year.
It's such an incredible thing.
It's been a hard battle, but you must be so thrilled.
It's very surreal, really, that it's, you know, because we knew that there were various stages in the law going through the House of Commons and the House of Lords. But our view is, even if the changes, even if it just saved one life, you know, then you know, Max has made a difference. And of course, Keira. And it's so right that the law should be called Max and Keira's law to reflect the two sides. Waiting list, because they become too ill to withstand an operation.
And there'll be people on that waiting list now, and that law doesn't come in until next year. So if you could give the gift of life now, make sure that you opt into it, because it doesn't change until next year.
What are the teddies? Tell us about the teddies.
Oh, these little teddies, these are actually made out of Keira's clothes. We have set up our charity inspired by Keira, And for families who go through something like we have, they've lost a child in a tragic circumstance, we offer these through the charity. They send us 5 items of clothing. We have a local lady to us who just, she's amazing, makes them with such love, makes memory bears, and they're a nice memory instead of clothes folded up and put somewhere. They're something you can hold or have in a unit, pop on your bed.
We'll put all the details on our website if anybody would like to have a look at that. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What a remarkable
Well done.
young lady she was. I mean, what an incredible gift that she's given. And thank you both.